The Greensboro Four was a group of four black college students whose goal was to protest the Jim Crow and segregation laws that were rampant in the United States in the 1950s and 60s. The four consisted of Ezell Blair Jr., Joseph McNeil, David Richmond, and Franklin McCain. They staged the sit-in in a segregated lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. The four were inspired by Mohandas Gandhi to peacefully protest against segregation, much like many other civil rights icons, such as Martin Luther King Jr. After their refusal to give up their seats to white customers, the four attracted hundreds more supporters as well as the local news. The television coverage of the sit-in spread the message to many other cities across the United States, and the event began a nationwide sit-in movement against segregation. The sit-in movement, which followed the Greensboro sit-in, spurred some of the most successful peaceful protests and accomplished many things during the civil rights movement. After Greensboro, many college students were inspired to start their own sit-ins in segregated restaurants and other establishments across the South. This method of protest proved to be very effective, as it prevented the white customers from being served, thus driving away business. The businesses were then forced to integrate their restaurants, allowing black people to enjoy a basic freedom. The sit-ins were a new and effective method of peaceful protesting that will continue to be used throughout the civil rights movement. They would lead to the undoing of many harmful laws. The sit-ins also brought a new sense of pride to black individuals. After so many years of facing oppression, harassment, and total inequality, it was important that the black communities knew that they did not have to sit idly by while laws continued to be exercised that restricted their freedoms. These protests would eventually create a more equal country for all peoples of color and marginalized groups. These protests caught the attention of the white and other communities to the unfair treatment of black people. Many people were able to see how harmful the segregation laws were and then began to support the movement, contributing time and effort to the cause. The sit-ins were also an important contribution to the passing of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The sit-ins were a crucial part of the civil rights movement, and the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was proof that all of the work paid off. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. This law ended segregation as it was now illegal to discriminate another group based on their race. The law states that a person cannot be hired, fired, or promoted based solely on race or sex. It also prohibits discrimination in federally funded programs such as schools and local law enforcement, and the act secured the voting rights of non-whites. The Civil Rights Act was possibly the most important result of the Greensboro Four, the sit-in movement, and the civil rights movement in its entirety. It continues to secure the freedoms of all Americans to this day.